What up, y'all? Adrenaline Beach. Outside. Wanted to make a beat outside today. I wanted to talk about the MPC Live 2 and the new gens and sound a little bit. So, just doing a little experiment. I had a little bit of time earlier today, and I killed some time doing a little experimentation. And I'm all on board with the sound quality mission, or whatever you want to call it. Like, yeah, I totally believe in that, and I got some equipment to back that up. You know what I mean? Some old school vintage equipment, and I love it. And I love it for what it does and everything. But, you know, what I noticed is I was locking myself into one particular workflow or one particular way of doing things to get that older sound, vintage sound and everything. What I discovered for myself is that that certain sound that I always wanted to capture and all that, I've captured it. I've done pretty well with it. I think between my EPS Classic and my S3000 XL, I've captured as much as I wanted to. So, and I have some outboard gear too, and all that stuff is great, man. It does exactly what I want it to do, but I noticed that I got to get the sound that I want. I have to like kind of use a hybrid here. So what I was doing is I've been experimenting different workflows, but one of them was using this Live 2 as a glorified controller. So I would run all the sounds through my EPS or my 3000 XL, leaving the drums in the 3000 XL, coming out through there to my interface and to my DAW, and doing the same with the EPS, running the samples through there. I would actually do the samples in there and trigger them with the Live 2. So, you know, that's kind of a cumbersome workflow. The sound is great, but I just wanted to experiment and see some things. So what I did today was I ran a sample into the MPC Live 2, then from the MPC Live 2 into my EPS Classic at 15 kilohertz sample rate. Goes all the way up from 6.25 kilohertz all the way to 52 kilohertz, and it has 40 different sample rates. So I went on the lower end, just kind of to guarantee that I get a grungy sound, and I only did it with the 15 kilohertz. I didn't go above, so I probably could have got a cleaner sound if I experimented a little more, but that's around where I've been playing. I've been playing between 8 kilohertz and 15 kilohertz to get a real ring modulation type, that ringing sound, and that real gritty grunge sound. So what I did was I took the sample and I ran a sample through there. Now I have a drum kit that I use, and it's called the S3000 XL drum kit. I ran drums, not nobody's drums. I took them straight off vinyl, straight off of albums, off of vinyl, and I ran them through the S3000 XL. And I did notice I was blown away. They just way punchier, just sounded more boom bap and more hip hop ran through that thing. So I got those drums. I ran them through the 3000 XL, and I made a drum kit, and I put that drum kit in my MPC Live 2, and I use it all the time. I use EA Ski's drums all the time, and Bolo's drums, and then my drum kit and the Beat Butcher. Those are the only 4 drum kits I use. I don't use anybody else's drum kits. Only EA Ski and Bolo when I want to get the trap stuff done, but EA Ski when I do boom bap. But you know, EA Ski, his drums inspired me to make my own drums, so I like the drums that I've made. So what I did was I made a drum loop. I ran that drum loop through the EPS Classic, and then using those 3000 XL drums, I also kept the clean version of those drums in MPC Live 2. And when I say clean version, it means I've made a drum loop. The same drum loop is in the MPC Live 2, and it's in the EPS Classic. Same with the sample. The same sample is in the MPC Live 2, and the same sample is in the EPS Classic. I came out of the EPS Classic back into the Live 2 with those sounds. And so yeah, I'm going to go through my findings now with you guys. This is ran through the MPC. So what you're hearing is the sample, a drum loop, and then a filtered out bass. So I took the sample, filtered out all the highs with the vintage filter plugin on the MPC Live. So that's what you hear. You hear, and I'll solo them out. That's the filtered sample. That's the drum loop playing through the MPC Live 2. And here's the sample. Now the sample is through the EQ kill, and I put it on a preset setting, no kick drum. That takes all the lows out of the sample. So I did that because I got that filtered bass line in there. So you play them together, and you have this. So I want you to listen to that for a second. All right. Now we're going to listen to the EPS version. Same exact setup. The only difference is that the filtered bass line is not going to be through the EPS Classic. It's going to be through here. Now what I did was I sampled The same sample that I use from the EPS Classic is the same sample that I filtered. Okay, here we go. So I'll go back and forth. 15 kilohertz through the EPS Classic, and here goes MPC Live 2. MPC Live 2, same effects. I got the sample at -9 dBs. I got there goes the EPS again. I got the sample at -9 dBs. I got the drums at like -6, and the bass line at like -9, I believe. So it's not a perfect science. It's not perfect. The only difference I'll say is when I went through the EPS Classic and brought that back in here, it's like automatically compressed. I feel like the EPS Classic has a way of compressing because the meter does not jump. You put it on 9 and it's at 9. It's processed at 9, it stays there. Whereas in the Live 2 it's jumping. So let's listen to the EPS Classic again. So now I'm gonna solo out some things. So we're gonna go with the drum loop first. Here goes the drum loop. So, as you notice, you can hear the grime, you can hear the grunge, you can hear how like noisy and how dirty everything sounds. The snare has like just a straight boom bap effect to it. It's real 90s era drum loop, right? Even the kick is like, it's got some analog flavor on it. So yeah, that's the drum loop. And we'll compare that to the MPC drum loop right now, just so you can hear them. Same drum loop, nothing different. Now I will say this, in the MPC clean version, you can hear my hats a little bit clearer. You can hear them, as opposed to the EPS Classic. Let's listen. You can hear them, but barely. They're not. The high frequencies are just kind of messy. So there you go. 15 kilohertz and the 15 kilohertz through EPS Classic, that drum loop, and then here comes the MPC drum loop one more time. You can hear the background open hats. I just got a ton of reverb on them so they're not super percussive. So yeah, alright, so now I'm gonna let you hear the sample. We're gonna play the MPC sample first, the Live 2 sample first. Okay, you can hear it. It's real clean. Real clean. Now here comes the EPS. Ooh. So distorted. So dirty. Yeah. So that dirtiness and grunge feels like the volume's up a lot more. It's just a lot more texture. It's just a lot more going on. And it just adds a lot more. It's just way more dynamic. But there is a ton of distortion on there. It sounds like it's clipping. It's just a lot of that analog flavor on there. Okay. So now we're going to go to the bass line. The filtered out bass line. Nice, clean. Ooh, muddy. Just heard the muddiness on it. Just sounds a little bit more muddy to me. Let's listen again. Just cleaner, right? This version is cleaner. You have to forget that when it comes in, it's just two bass lines meeting, so there's a little bit of clutter in the beginning, but just get past the first second. One. Now, that's the MPC, super clean. And here goes the Live 2. Yeah, I hear a little bit different. The bass line, I'll admit, is not that much of a difference, but there is some difference. I can hear it. Now, for my findings and my opinion and what I think, I'm going to make my drums in MPC Live 2 using whatever drum kit, my drum kit, ESK's drum kit. I'm going to make the loop. I'm going to send the loop to the EPS Classic, just record it in EPS Classic, probably at 15 kilohertz or lower. I really like the way they sound. Maybe even a little higher just to get the hi-hats, the top end back on the hi-hats. But I'm definitely going to sample it through the EPS Classic, and then I'm going to bring it back into the MPC Live. The samples, however, on a sample like this, I kind of like the way it sounds in the Live 2. You know, I haven't tried running it through on a higher kilohertz. I probably could go to maybe 30 kilohertz or 25 kilohertz, and it probably would sound great. I'm going to try that next. So I'm not going to rule out using my samples in the EPS Classic, but what I am going to do right now is run the samples through the MPC Live 2 and use some of the effects, the plugins built in here. Yeah, I like standalone mode, so I'm going to do that. And I do have my outboard geared. I got a good compressor. I can run it through that to get some sauce. I'm going to run the bass line probably through the EPS Classic too, because I like that muddy bass line. And yeah, that's the drums I'm going to use. Those are EPS Classic drums. MPC sample. So with the MPC sample sound, I think that's a good combo. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. To hit the like button, subscribe, and all that. Yeah, man, should have some content coming in the future, and that's it. I'm out here today. I wanted to get out the cave, man. I wanted to get out the Fortress of Solitude. That's what I call my studio. Yeah, man, just enjoying the nature out here, making a beat and doing a comparison. So that's it. Adrenaline Beats. I'm out.
Adrenaline Beats.